You will burn tonight, old woman. The petrol can clattered against the marble floor as Nomsa's trembling hands reached for the lighter in her pocket. Mama Tobo lay bound to the dining chair, her aged eyes wide with terror, watching the woman she'd welcomed as a daughter prepare her funeral pyre. Please, Mama Tobo whispered, her voice cracking. I raised you like my own. How can you? Shut up. Nomsa's scream echoed through the luxury penthouse overlooking Santun. You think I came into this family to share? To wait. Your son is dead. Everything is mine now. Mine. The elderly woman's tears fell silently as Nomsa unscrewed the petrol cap, the fumes immediately filling the air-conditioned room. 3 months. It had been 3 months since billionaire Thabo Mthembu's publicized death from a sudden heart attack. 3 months since Johannesburg's business community mourned one of their brightest stars. 3 months since his widow had moved into this penthouse with his mother, supposedly to care for her. Hello guys. Welcome to Stories by Stoner. Before we continue with this shocking story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you discovered someone's true intentions too late? Now, let's dive in. Nomsa's hands steadied as she began pouring the petrol. You know what your mistake was, old woman? Trusting me. Believing that I actually loved your precious son. You never loved Tobo? Mama Tobo's voice broke completely. Love. Nomsa laughed, a sound like breaking glass. I loved his money, his empire, his name. Do you know how many years I pretended? Smiling at his boring business dinners? Entertaining his tedious friends? Pretending to care about his charity work. She circled the chair, splashing petrol on the old woman's traditional Xhosa dress. I deserve compensation for those years of performance. Mama Tobo closed her eyes, praying silently as the chemical smell burned her nostrils. The lawyers said the will is complicated, Nomsa continued, her voice taking on a dreamy quality. Too many beneficiaries. His mother gets 40%. His foundations get 30%. I only get 30%. She slammed the can down. Do you know what happens when you're gone? Everything comes to me. The widow. The grieving, devoted wife. God will judge you, Mama Tobo whispered. God. Nomsa's laugh was wild now. Where was God when I was growing up in Soweto, eating 1 meal a day? Where was he when my mother died begging for medicine we couldn't afford? She pulled out her phone, checking the time. No, old woman. I learned early, we make our own heaven on earth. And mine starts tonight. She reached into her pocket for the lighter. The penthouse was silent except for Mama Tobo's quiet prayers and Nomsa's heavy breathing. Outside, Johannesburg's lights twinkled like distant stars, oblivious to the horror unfolding in one of its most expensive buildings. Nomsa flicked the lighter once. The flame danced. Any last words? She asked, her finger hovering over the trigger. But before Mama Tobo could speak, before the flame could fall, the electronic lock on the penthouse door beeped. Someone was coming in. Nomsa froze, the lighter still in her hand, as the door swung open. And there, silhouetted against the hallway light, stood a figure she thought she'd never see again. What happens when a dead man walks through his own door? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thabo Mthembu stepped into his penthouse, very much alive. His eyes locked on the woman holding a lighter above his petrol-soaked mother. The lighter fell from Nomsa's hand, clattering across the floor. No, no, no. Her scream was primal, disbelieving. You're dead. I saw you. The hospital. The funeral. The grave. Tobo's face remained emotionless as he walked further into the room, his expensive shoes clicking against the marble. Behind him, 2 security guards and his family attorney, Mr. Dlamini, filed in silently. In Mr. Dlamini's hand, a tablet glowed, recording every second. Hello, wife, Tobo said, his voice cold as winter in the Drakensberg. Surprised to see your husband? Nomsa stumbled backward, her designer heels catching on the Persian rug. Her perfectly made-up face had gone ashen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish drowning in air. This isn't real. You're a ghost. I'm dreaming. You're not dreaming. Tobo walked to his mother, gently untying her bonds. Mama, are you hurt? Mama Tobo collapsed into her son's arms, sobbing. My boy, my boy. Sure, Mama. I'm here. You're safe now. He held her tight, but his eyes never left Nomsa. Mr. Dlamini, did you get everything? The attorney nodded, turning the tablet toward Nomsa. Her own voice played back. You will burn tonight, old woman. Her own image, pouring petrol. Her own confession. I loved his money. His empire. No. Nomsa whispered, backing toward the wall. You can't. This is entrapment. You set me up. I gave you a test. Tobo's voice thundered through the penthouse. A test you failed spectacularly. He gently passed his mother to one of the guards, who wrapped a blanket around her shaking shoulders. Then he advanced on Nomsa. 3 months ago, I started suspecting the woman I married. Small things. The way you looked at my bank statements instead of my face. How you knew my net worth better than my favorite color. How you smiled at funeral arrangements for my business partner's father. Nomsa's back hit the window. Tobo, baby, listen. Don't baby me. His roar made her flinch. I confided in my mother. She saw it too. We created a plan with Dr. Nkosi at Santun Medical Center. A fake heart attack. A staged death. A public funeral with a weighted coffin. You faked your own death? Nomsa's voice was barely audible. To see who you really were, Tobo continued, his voice dropping to something more dangerous than shouting. I installed cameras everywhere. This penthouse. My mother's bedroom. The kitchen. The garage. I watched everything, Nomsa. He pulled out his own phone, swiping through footage. Day 3 after my death, you called your secret boyfriend Bongoni, telling him you'd be rich soon. Day 7, you met with a real estate agent to sell my mother's childhood home in KZN. Day 15, you tried to bribe my lawyer to expedite the will. Day 40, you Googled how to make a death look like an accident. Each revelation hit Nomsa like a physical blow. She slid down the window, her legs giving out. But tonight, Tobo's voice cracked with emotion. Tonight you tried to murder my mother. The woman who raised me alone after my father died. Who worked 3 jobs so I could go to university. Who sold her jewelry to fund my first business. Tears streamed down his face now. You were going to burn her alive for money? I wasn't really going to. Nomsa tried, but her own voice from the recording cut her off. You will burn tonight, old woman. Mr. Dlamini stepped forward. Mrs. Mthembu, or should I say Ms. Sithole, since this marriage was clearly based on fraud, you are going to prison. We have 3 months of footage showing premeditated intent. Conspiracy to commit murder. Attempted murder. Insurance fraud. The prosecutor is already filing charges. Prison. Nomsa's eyes went wild. No, please. Tobo, we can work this out. I'll go to therapy. I was stressed, grieving. Grieving. Mama Tobo's voice, though shaky, cut through the room. You posted on Instagram the day after the funeral. Wearing designer clothes. Smiling. The caption was, New chapter, new blessings. I saw it. Nomsa buried her face in her hands, her whole body shaking. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry you were caught, Tobo said quietly. Mr. Dlamini, call the police. As the attorney dialed, Nomsa suddenly lunged forward, grabbing Tobo's legs. Please. I'll leave. I'll sign everything away. Just don't send me to prison. My family. What will people say? Tobo looked down at her with something between pity and disgust. What will people say? You were about to turn my mother into ashes, and you're worried about gossip. The sirens began wailing in the distance, growing closer. Nomsa's sobs turned into hysterical laughter mixed with tears. You're so clever, Tobo. So smart. You always were. I almost had it all. I was so close. You had everything, Tobo said softly. A husband who loved you. A family who welcomed you. Wealth beyond imagination. But it wasn't enough. Your greed blinded you to what was real. The elevator dinged. Heavy footsteps approached. The police are here, but what other secrets will they uncover? Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Was Tobo's plan genius or too extreme? The police officers entered with handcuffs ready, but what they found was a scene from a nightmare. Petrol fumes choking the air, an elderly woman wrapped in a blanket, and a sobbing younger woman on her knees. Captain Rad Ebe, Tobo greeted the lead officer, a tall woman with sharp eyes. Thank you for coming. Mr. Mthembu. Captain Radibi's eyebrows rose slightly. She'd attended his funeral 3 months ago. I see the reports of your death were greatly exaggerated. Strategically exaggerated, Tobo corrected. Captain, this woman just attempted to murder my mother. Mr. Dlamini has all the evidence. The attorney handed over the tablet. Captain Rad Ebe watched the footage, her expression hardening with each passing second. When Nomsa's voice confessed to marrying for money, the captain's jaw tightened. Ms. Nomsa Sithole, Captain Rad Ebe said formally. You are under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and fraud. You have the right to remain silent. Wait! Nomsa shrieked, scrambling to her feet. You don't understand. There's more. I'll tell you everything if you let me go. Tobo's eyes narrowed. More. Nomsa's face twisted with desperate calculation. You think I was alone in this? You think I planned everything by myself? She laughed bitterly. Your precious empire isn't as clean as you think, husband. What are you talking about? Tobo demanded. The Durban construction deal, Nomsa spat. The one worth 200 million rand. Your partner, Mr. Zwane, he's been embezzling for 2 years. I have proof. Bank statements. Recorded conversations. Her eyes gleamed with malicious triumph. I was supposed to get half once you were gone, and I controlled the company. The room went deathly silent. Mr. Dlamini's face went pale. Samuel Zwane? Your best friend since university. Tobo felt the floor shift beneath him. Samuel Zwane had been his business partner for 15 years. His daughter's godfather. The man who delivered the eulogy at his funeral, crying real tears. You're lying, Tobo said, but his voice wavered. Am I? Nomsa pulled out her phone with shaking hands. It's all here. Emails. Transfer receipts. He's been funneling money into offshore accounts in Mauritius. He was going to frame you posthumously for tax evasion and take control of Mthembu Enterprises. She looked up at Tobo, her eyes red and swollen. Why do you think I married you? Samuel introduced us at that charity gala 5 years ago. It was his idea. He needed someone inside your home, your life, your bed. Mama, Tobo gasped. Samuel? That boy I fed in my kitchen? Who called me Mama, like he was my own son. The same. Nomsa's voice was hollow now. He promised me 10 million rand and a new life in Dubai once everything was settled. But then your mother had to be in the way. 40%. I couldn't wait years for her to die naturally. Tobo grabbed Nomsa's phone before Captain Rad Ebe could stop him. His fingers flew across the screen, opening her messages. His face went from shock to rage to devastation as he read. Samuel's messages were there. All of them. The old man trusts me completely. When he's gone, we restructure everything. Make sure you play the grieving widow perfectly. No mistakes. The mother is the only obstacle. Handle it quietly. No, Tobo whispered, his legs suddenly weak. Mr. Dlamini caught him before he fell. Captain Radebe took the phone, photographing the evidence with her own device. This changes everything. We'll need to bring in Mr. Zwane immediately. He's in Dubai, Nomsa said flatly. Left yesterday for a business trip. Probably realized something was wrong when I stopped responding to his messages. How long? Tobo's voice was barely audible. How long has he been stealing from me? Since the Johannesburg Mall project. 2 years ago. Nomsa seemed almost relieved to be confessing now. Small amounts at first. Then bigger. He got greedy, just like me. We were both vultures, Tobo. Circling your empire, waiting for you to fall. Mama Tobo began to cry again, this time not from relief but from heartbreak. Samuel. I cooked for that boy. I prayed for his marriage. His children call you Uncle Tobo. The betrayal was a physical weight pressing down on Tobo's chest. His wife. His best friend. Both of them plotting his destruction while smiling in his face. Captain Radebe handcuffed Nomsa. You'll have plenty of time to think about your choices. Officers, take her to the station. Mr. Mthembu, we'll need full statements from you and your mother. And we'll need all financial records for your company. As the officers led Nomsa toward the elevator, she turned back one last time. You know what's funny, Tobo? I actually started to love you. Around year 2. You were kind, generous, real. But Samuel kept reminding me, love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't buy freedom. Her voice cracked. He was wrong. Love is the only thing that lasts. And I threw it away. The elevator doors closed on her tear-stained face. Tobo stood frozen in his petrol-soaked penthouse, his mother crying softly beside him, as his entire world crumbled. His marriage was a lie. His best friendship was a lie. How much of his success was built on Samuel's sabotage? Mr. Dlamini's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, then his face went white. Tobo. Samuel just tried to withdraw 50 million rand from the company account in Dubai. The bank flagged it and froze everything. 50 million? Tobo's voice was dead. How much has he taken total? We'll need forensic accountants, but based on these messages. Mr. Dlamini scrolled through Nomsa's phone. It could be over 300 million rand. 300 million. Almost a quarter of his liquid assets. Mama Tobo touched her son's arm. My boy. I'm so sorry. You're sorry. Tobo turned to her, his eyes wet. Mama, you almost died tonight because of my blindness. I brought these snakes into our family. I trusted them. I loved them. We all did, baby. We all did. Captain Radebe finished her notes. Mr. Mthembu, I know this is overwhelming, but we need to move fast. If Mr. Zwane realizes we're onto him, he'll disappear. Dubai doesn't have an extradition treaty for financial crimes. We need to coordinate with Interpol immediately. Tobo straightened his shoulders, wiping his eyes. The pain was still there, sharp and deep, but beneath it, something else was growing. Not just anger. Not just hurt. Determination. Captain, he said quietly, I want everything. Every cent he stole. Every lie he told. Every person he bribed. I will burn his life to ashes just as he tried to burn mine. Now you sound like your father, Mama Tobo said with grim satisfaction. He never let anyone who wronged family walk away clean. Mr. Dlamini was already on his phone, calling the company's security team. I'm pulling all access codes. Freezing every account he has signature authority on. Calling our partners in Dubai. No, Tobo interrupted. Don't freeze everything yet. Everyone looked at him in surprise. A cold smile spread across Tobo's face. If Samuel thinks he's gotten away, he'll get comfortable. He'll make mistakes. Let him think I'm still dealing with Nomsa's arrest. Let him think he has time. His eyes gleamed with calculated fury. I faked my death once. I can fake ignorance too. When I'm ready, I'll make sure he loses everything. His freedom, his reputation, his family's respect. Just like he tried to do to me. Tobo wants revenge, but can he outsmart a man who's been deceiving him for years? Like and subscribe to see how this revenge unfolds. What would you do if your best friend betrayed you like this? Comment below. 2 days after Nomsa's arrest, Tobo sat in his private study overlooking Santon's glittering skyline. The penthouse had been professionally cleaned. No trace of petrol remained, but the stench of betrayal lingered in every corner. Mama Tobo brought him tea, her hands steadier now but her eyes still carrying the weight of what had almost happened. You haven't slept since that night. How can I sleep, Mama? Tobo gestured to the mountain of documents covering his desk. Every paper I touch has Samuel's fingerprints on it. Every deal we made together is now suspect. I don't know what's real anymore. She sat across from him, her traditional head wrap elegant despite her exhaustion. Your father used to say, when a snake bites you, don't waste time wondering why. Focus on extracting the venom before it kills you. Wise words. Tobo sipped his rooibos tea. But this snake bit me years ago. The venom is everywhere. His phone buzzed. A message from Samuel Zwane. Brother. Just heard about Nomsa's arrest on the news. I'm devastated for you. Coming home early to support you. Landing tomorrow. Stay strong. Tobo showed his mother the message. She read it and spat on the floor, a gesture she reserved for the deepest contempt. The audacity, she hissed. He's coming back. Why? Because he thinks I don't know about him yet, Tobo replied, his fingers flying across his phone keyboard. He typed back. Thank you, brother. I need you now more than ever. The betrayal has destroyed me. Samuel's response came immediately. I'm here for you. Always. Family forever. Family forever, Tobo read aloud bitterly. The same thing he said at my fake funeral while planning to frame me for crimes. Mr. Dlamini entered the study without knocking. His usually neat suit rumpled from 72 hours of non-stop work. The forensic accountants finished their preliminary report. Tobo. It's worse than we thought. How much worse? 420 million rand. Gone. Over 3 years. Mr. Dlamini dropped a thick folder on the desk. He was brilliant. Small transactions spread across dozens of shell companies. Fake invoices from real suppliers who he was paying kickbacks to. Construction delays that cost millions. Delays he manufactured. Tobo's hands trembled as he opened the folder. Page after page of his supposed best friend's systematic theft. The Durban project. Inflated by 30%. The contractors were real, the work was real, but Samuel added ghost subcontractors and pocketed the difference. Mr. Dlamini pulled out highlighted documents. The Cape Town Hotel? He bought the land through a shell company first, then sold it to Mthembu Enterprises at triple the price. You essentially bought property from him without knowing it. My God. Tobo felt sick. There's more. Mr. Dlamini hesitated. The charity foundation you started for underprivileged children? Samuel was director of finances. No. Tobo looked up sharply. Tell me he didn't steal from orphans. The lawyer's silence was answer enough. Mama Tobo stood abruptly, her teacup shattering against the wall. That demon. Those children. Tobo gave millions to feed them, educate them, give them hope. He took 40%, Mr. Dlamini said quietly. The foundation thought they had 50 million rand. They actually had 30 million. The programs in rural KwaZulu-Natal? Never fully funded. The school in Limpopo? Built with substandard materials because Samuel pocketed the construction budget. Tobo buried his face in his hands. Children had suffered because of Samuel's greed. Innocent children who reminded him of his own childhood struggles. I'm going to destroy him, Tobo whispered. Not just financially. I want him broken in every way a man can be broken. Careful, son. Mama Tobo's voice was gentle but firm. Revenge can poison you worse than any betrayal. This isn't revenge, Mama. This is justice. Tobo stood, pacing to the window. How many other people has he stolen from? How many businesses has he sabotaged? If I don't stop him, he'll do this again. To someone else. His phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Mthembu? A woman's voice, nervous and young. My name is Lindayo. I work at First National Bank in Dubai. I shouldn't be calling you, but I'm South African, and I saw your name on Mr. Zwain's accounts. Tobo's pulse quickened. I'm listening. He's been in our office every day this week, trying to move money. Big amounts. We flagged it because of the irregular patterns, but he's been pressuring our manager, offering bribes. My manager is considering it. She paused. Mr. Mthembu, I grew up in Soweto. Your foundation paid for my university education. When I saw your name, I knew something was wrong. Tears pricked Tobo's eyes. Lindayo, you may have just saved everything. What exactly is Samuel trying to do? He wants to transfer 80 million rand to a cryptocurrency account today. Then he plans to close all shared accounts tomorrow. He told our manager he has full authority from you, showed documents with your signature. Forged signatures, Tobo said grimly. Lindayo, can you stall him? Just for 24 hours. I can try. But if my manager finds out I called you, I'll lose my job. You won't lose anything. I promise. Tobo nodded at Mr. Dlamini, who was already calling their international legal team. In fact, when this is over, you'll be promoted. What's your full name? Lindayo Nkosi. But Mr. Mthembu, you should know, Mr. Zwain isn't alone here. He has a woman with him. She's been signing documents too. They act like a couple. Tobo's stomach dropped. A woman? What does she look like? Young. Maybe 25. Pretty. Light-skinned. She calls him baby. She's wearing a ring, looks like an engagement ring. The room spun. Samuel was married with 3 children back home. His wife, Thandayo, was Mama Tobo's goddaughter. Get me a photo, Tobo said coldly. Discreetly. Email it to my lawyer. He rattled off Mr. Dlamini's email address. I'll try. Mr. Mthembu. Be careful. Mr. Zwain was talking on the phone yesterday. I heard him say something about, the old man's mother should be dead by now. He sounded angry that his plan failed. So Samuel knew about Nomsa's arrest and the failed murder attempt. He was coming back to South Africa anyway. Why? Thank you, Lindayo. You may have saved my mother's life. Tobo ended the call and turned to Mr. Dlamini. Get Captain Radebe on the phone. Samuel is planning to move 80 million rand today. We need to freeze everything now. Within minutes, the study was a war room. Lawyers, police officers, financial experts all on video calls. Captain Radebe coordinated with Interpol. The bank in Dubai received official freeze orders from South African courts. At 3 p.m., Lindayo sent the email. Attached was a photo taken from behind a desk partition. Samuel Zwain with his arm around a young woman, both of them laughing as they signed documents. Mama Tobo studied the photo and gasped. That's Naledi, Thandayo's younger sister. What? Tobo leaned in closer. Samuel is having an affair with his own wife's sister. Mama Tobo's voice shook with disgust. That poor woman. Thandayo. She worships him. She has no idea. The betrayal layers kept multiplying. Samuel hadn't just stolen from Tobo, he'd destroyed his own family too. Tobo's phone buzzed again. Samuel, just landed in Johannesburg. Coming straight to you. We need to talk about the future of the company now that Nomsa is gone. I have ideas. Ideas, Tobo repeated slowly. He has ideas. He looked at everyone assembled in his study, his mother, his lawyer, Captain Radebe on video. Tomorrow, Samuel walks into my office thinking he's about to take control of my empire. Instead, he walks into a trap. What kind of trap? Mr. Dlamini asked. Tobo's smile was ice. The kind where he confesses everything himself. I want him to admit what he's done. On camera. In front of witnesses. I want his own words to bury him so deep, even his children won't be able to deny what their father really is. Tobo's setting the ultimate trap, but Samuel has survived this long by being smart. Will the confrontation go as planned? Hit subscribe and drop a comment. Do you think Samuel suspects anything? The next morning, Tobo sat in his executive office at Mthembu Enterprises, the entire room wired with hidden cameras and microphones. Captain Radebe and two plainclothes officers waited in the adjacent conference room, watching live feeds. Mr. Dlamini sat across from Tobo, a briefcase full of damning evidence at his feet. He'll be here in 10 minutes, Mr. Dlamini said, checking his watch. Are you ready? Tobo straightened his tie, black, mourning his fake death and his real losses. I've been ready since I watched that footage of Nomsa trying to kill my mother. Every snake in my garden gets cut down today. His phone buzzed. Reception. Mr. Zwane is here, sir. Send him up. Tobo took a deep breath, forcing his face into a mask of grief and vulnerability. When the office door opened, Samuel Zwane walked in looking every bit the concerned friend, expensive suit, worried expression, arms open for an embrace. Brother. Samuel's voice cracked with false emotion. I came as soon as I could. This thing with Nomsa. I can't believe it. How are you holding up? Tobo stood slowly, letting Samuel hug him. Every muscle in his body screamed to throw this man through the window, but instead he returned the embrace weakly. I'm destroyed, Samuel. Everything I believed was a lie. I know, brother. I know. Samuel pulled back, gripping Tobo's shoulders. But you're strong. The Mthembu blood is strong. You'll survive this. They sat, and Tobo poured whiskey, top shelf, the kind Samuel always loved. I keep thinking, how did I miss it? The signs must have been there. Don't blame yourself. Samuel sipped his drink, settling comfortably into the leather chair. These women are clever. They study us, learn what we want to hear, become exactly what we need. Nomsa played you perfectly. She said something strange at her arrest, Tobo said carefully, watching Samuel's face. She claimed she wasn't working alone. That someone introduced her to me deliberately. At that charity gala 5 years ago. Samuel's hand froze halfway to his mouth. Just for a second. Then he recovered, laughing. She's trying to drag others down with her. Classic criminal behavior. Who did she blame? She didn't give names. The police cut her off. Tobo leaned forward. But Samuel. That gala. You were with me. You introduced me to several women that night. Do you remember Nomsa? A muscle twitched in Samuel's jaw. Vaguely. There were hundreds of people there, brother. I can't remember everyone. Liar. The first crack. Mr. Dlamini cleared his throat. Mr. Zwane, while you're here, we need to discuss some financial irregularities. Standard audit procedure after a major incident like this. The board wants to review all company accounts. Of course, of course. Samuel nodded enthusiastically. Transparency is crucial. What do you need from me? Your signature is on several large transactions over the past 3 years, Mr. Dlamini said smoothly, sliding papers across the desk. The Durban construction project. The Cape Town hotel acquisition. The Charity Foundation disbursements. We just need you to verify these were legitimate. Samuel picked up the papers, and Tobo watched sweat begin to bead on his forehead despite the air conditioning. These all look standard. I signed hundreds of documents. My memory isn't perfect. Of course not. Tobo's voice was gentle, sympathetic. But Samuel, some of these transactions went to companies I can't trace. Shell companies. Offshore accounts. He paused. The police forensic team found them while investigating Nomsa. They think she might have been embezzling too. Well, that wouldn't surprise me, Samuel said quickly. Too quickly. She had access to some accounts as your wife. She probably. But these transactions predate my marriage, Mr. Dlamini interrupted. By 2 years. Nomsa had no access to company finances then. These signatures are yours alone, Mr. Zwane. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Samuel set down his glass carefully. What exactly are you implying, Mr. Dlamini? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. The lawyer pulled out more documents. Ghost Ridge Construction. Doesn't exist. Sunbird Property Holdings. Dissolved 5 years ago, yet we paid them 12 million rand last year. Mandela Children's Trust. Real charity. But the account number on our transfer receipts? Belongs to an offshore company in Mauritius. There must be accounting errors. Samuel started to stand. Sit down. Tobo's voice cut like a blade. Samuel froze, then slowly sank back into his chair. His mask was cracking. Brother, if there are irregularities, we'll investigate together. Someone in accounting. Stop lying. Tobo's roar made Samuel flinch. I know everything, Samuel. Everything. Nomsa told us before she was arrested. About your plan. About the embezzlement. About framing me for tax evasion after my death. He stood, towering over his former friend. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Samuel's face cycled through emotions. Shock, fear, anger, calculation. Finally, he settled on defiance. You can't prove anything. Nomsa is a criminal trying to reduce her sentence. Her word means nothing. You're right. Tobo pulled out his phone, opening the email from Lindial. But bank records don't lie. Neither do photographs. He turned the screen toward Samuel. The photo showed Samuel and Naledi in Dubai, signing documents, his arm around her waist. Samuel's face went ashen. Where did you get that? An honest bank employee. Someone who actually has integrity. Tobo leaned on his desk. Tell me, Samuel, does your wife know you're sleeping with her sister? Does Thandile know that while she's home raising your children, you're in Dubai planning a new life with Naledi? You've been spying on me? No, brother. Tobo's voice dripped with sarcasm. I've been investigating you. There's a difference. One is paranoia. The other is justified protection against a thief. Samuel jumped up, his chair flying backward. You self-righteous hypocrite. You think you're so perfect? You faked your own death. You manipulated everyone who loved you to expose a murderer and a thief. Tobo shot back. And it worked. I caught my wife trying to burn my mother alive. And I caught you stealing 400 million rand from companies, charities, orphans. 400. Samuel's legs seemed to give out. He grabbed the desk for support. Oh, you thought I didn't know the full amount? Tobo circled around the desk. Predatory. I know about every fake invoice. Every shell company. Every bribed contractor. I know you stole from the children's charity. The same charity that fed you when you were a hungry university student. The same charity where my mother volunteered her time because she believed in helping the next generation. Samuel's breathing was ragged now. I was going to pay it back. All of it. I just needed. Needed what? Tobo's voice shook the windows. Another yacht? Another mistress? Another 1 million rand? When was enough going to be enough, Samuel? The door to the conference room opened. Captain Radebe walked in with her officers, handcuffs ready. Samuel saw them and his face collapsed completely. No. Please. Tobo, we've been friends for 20 years. 20 years. Remember when I stood by you when your father died? When I helped you get your first investor? I was your best man at your wedding. And I was your children's godfather, Tobo said quietly, tears finally breaking through. I loved those kids like they were mine. Your son calls me Uncle Tobo. Your daughters make me birthday cards every year. His voice cracked. How could you betray me like this? How could you steal from orphans and sleep at night? Samuel sank to his knees, no longer the confident businessman but a broken man facing consequences. I was drowning in debt. My father's medical bills, my brother's legal fees, Naladi's shopping habits. It started small. Just borrowing a little. I was going to replace it. But then it got easier. And easier. And I couldn't stop. You could have asked me for help, Tobo whispered. I would have given you anything. Anything. You were my brother. I know. Samuel's tears were real now. I know, and that makes it worse. You trusted me completely. And I took that trust and turned it into my personal bank account. He looked up at Tobo. I'm sorry. I know it means nothing now, but I'm sorry. Captain Radebe pulled him to his feet. Samuel Zwane, you are under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. You have the right to remain silent. Wait, Samuel said desperately. Murder? I never. Nomsa acted alone on that. I told her to wait, to be patient. I never said to hurt anyone. Captain Radebe pulled out her phone, playing an audio recording. Samuel's voice came through clearly. The old woman is in the way. She needs to go. I don't care how. Make it look natural. We can't wait years for her to die. Samuel's face went white as death. You recorded our calls? Nomsa was smarter than you thought, Captain Radebe said. She recorded everything. Insurance policy in case you betrayed her like you betrayed everyone else. As the officers cuffed Samuel, he looked back at Tobo one last time. My children, please. They're innocent. Don't let them suffer for what I've done. Tobo's heart broke despite everything. I would never hurt children, Samuel. Unlike you. He paused. I'll make sure your wife and kids are provided for. From my own pocket. Not stolen money. Real money, earned honestly. Because that's what family does. Samuel sobbed as they led him away. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. When the door closed, Tobo collapsed into his chair, his head in his hands. Mr. Dlamini poured him another whiskey. It's over, the lawyer said gently. You did it. No, Tobo replied, his voice hollow. Now comes the hard part. Telling Thandile. Telling the children. Watching the news tear Samuel apart. Rebuilding everything he destroyed. He looked up at his lawyer. How do you rebuild trust when the foundation was built on lies? Mr. Dlamini had no answer. Tobo's phone rang. His mother. Mama. I'm watching the news. Her voice was thick with emotion. Samuel's arrest is already broadcasting. The reporters are outside his house. Thandile is crying on her doorstep, her children holding her. It's heartbreaking. I know, Mama. But necessary, she added firmly. Those children need to know the truth. Better a painful truth than a comfortable lie. You did the right thing, my son. Did he? Tobo wasn't sure anymore. Justice felt less satisfying than he'd imagined. 2 traitors arrested, but the emotional fallout is just beginning. What happens to the families left behind? Like, subscribe, and comment. Would you have exposed your best friend like this, knowing it would hurt innocent people? 3 weeks later, Tobo stood at the entrance of his childhood home in Soweto, the small house where Mama Tobo had raised him after his father died. The paint was faded, the fence rusty, but it held more truth than his Santon penthouse ever had. Inside, Mama Tobo was hosting a gathering. Not a celebration. A healing. Thandao Wayne sat on the worn couch, her 3 children pressed against her sides. Her eyes were red from weeks of crying, her beautiful face gaunt from stress and betrayal. When she saw Tobo enter, she stiffened. "Thank you for coming," Tobo said softly, sitting across from her. "I know this is difficult." Difficult. Thandao's voice was raw. "My husband is in prison. My sister vanished to Mozambique with money she helped him steal. My children ask me every day why their father lied, why Uncle Tobo hates them now." She wiped angry tears. "How am I supposed to explain that their hero was a monster?" "I don't hate them," Tobo said firmly, looking at the children. Saifo, age 10, Thandao Jr., age 8, and little Mandla, just 6. And their father isn't a monster. He's a man who made terrible choices. There's a difference. Is there? Thandao's laugh was bitter. The news calls him a thief. A criminal. People spit at us in the grocery store. Saifo got into a fight at school because boys called his father a snake. How do I tell him they're wrong when they're right? Mama Tobo entered with tea, setting the tray down with gentle authority. "You tell him the truth, daughter. That people are complicated. That his father did wrong things, but the love Samuel had for his children was real." "Was it?" Thandao looked at Tobo. "Was any of it real? Our marriage? Our friendship with you? Or were we all just pieces in his game?" Tobo thought carefully before answering. "Samuel loved you. I believe that. I saw him with you and the children. That wasn't performance. But he also loved money. Power. And when those loves conflicted, he chose wrong." He leaned forward. "Thandao, I asked you here because I owe you truth. And I owe these children more than their father gave them." He pulled out legal documents. Samuel stole 420 million rand. The courts have frozen his accounts, but recovery will take years. In the meantime, you and your children need support. "I don't want your charity," Thandao said proudly, though her voice shook. "It's not charity. It's restitution." Tobo slid the papers across the coffee table. "I've established a trust fund for your children. Education. Healthcare. Living expenses. Managed by independent trustees, not me. When they turn 25, they'll receive the balance to start their own lives." Thandao stared at the documents, tears falling onto the pages. "Why? After everything Samuel did to you? Because these children are innocent." Tobo looked at young Saifo, who was trying so hard to be brave for his mother. "When I was Saifo's age, my father died. We had nothing. But people helped us. My mother's church. Neighbors. Strangers who believed children shouldn't suffer for their parents' failures." He smiled sadly. "Samuel himself gave me my first job. Before he became what he became, he was good. I choose to remember that boy and honor him by protecting his children." Mama Tobo squeezed Thandao's shoulder. "My son knows what it's like to grow up with shame. With whispers. His father died in debt, accused of bribing officials. The newspapers called him corrupt. Tobo carried that weight for years." Tobo nodded. "I don't want Samuel's children to carry the same burden. Yes, their father committed crimes. But they are not their father. They are Saifo, TJ, and Mandla. They are smart, kind, innocent kids who deserve a future." Little Mandla spoke for the first time, his voice tiny. "Uncle Tobo, do you still love us?" The question shattered something in Tobo's chest. He knelt in front of the boy, taking his small hands. "I love you so much, Mandla. All of you. What your father did was wrong, but my love for you never changed. Do you understand?" Mandla nodded, then burst into tears, throwing his arms around Tobo's neck. Saifo and TJ joined, and soon all 3 children were sobbing against him while Thandile covered her face, her shoulders shaking. "I'm sorry," Thandile whispered. "I should have seen the signs. The expensive gifts I didn't question. The business trips that seemed excessive. The way Naledi started dressing better, acting secretive. I ignored it all because I didn't want to believe." "Stop," Mama Tobo said firmly. "You are not responsible for your husband's choices or your sister's betrayal. Samuel was clever. He fooled everyone. Even my son, who is one of the smartest businessmen in South Africa." "Not smart enough," Tobo said quietly, still holding the children. "I missed it for years." "Because you trusted him," Mama Tobo corrected. "Trust isn't weakness, my son. It's the foundation of humanity. Samuel abused that trust. But the failure is his, not yours." Mr. Dlamini arrived with more documents. "The court case is proceeding quickly. Samuel has agreed to plead guilty to all charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. 22 years instead of 40. 22 years. Samuel would be 70 when he got out. His children would be adults. He'd miss everything." "And Nomsa?" Tobo asked. 30 years. Attempted murder carries heavy weight. She's also testifying against Samuel, providing details about the offshore accounts." Mr. Dlamini paused. "Tobo, we've recovered about 60% of the stolen money so far. The rest is in cryptocurrency accounts we're still tracing. Whatever we recover from Samuel's portion goes to 3 places," Tobo said decisively. "First, full restitution to the charity foundation. Those children need their programs funded properly. Second, compensation to any contractors or employees who were cheated. Third, anything remaining goes into trust for Samuel's children." Thandile looked up sharply. "You'd give stolen money back to his family?" "It's not stolen anymore once it's recovered. And his children shouldn't suffer twice, once for the crime, again for the poverty." Tobo stood. "Besides, Samuel would want his kids taken care of. The man I knew 20 years ago, before greed poisoned him, that man loved his family. I'm honoring that version of Samuel, not the criminal." The doorbell rang. Mama Tobo answered, returning with a young woman, Lindile from the Dubai bank, the one who had called with the crucial information. "Mr. Mthembu." Lindile looked nervous. "I hope it's okay I came. Your office said you'd be here." "Of course. Everyone, this is Lindile Nkosi. She's the reason we caught Samuel before he could disappear with 80 million rand." Tobo gestured her inside. "Lindile, I promised you wouldn't lose your job. I went further. I bought a 20% stake in that Dubai bank. And I recommended you for promotion to junior risk manager." Lindile's eyes went wide. You bought part of the bank? Needed a good investment." Tobo smiled. "And I wanted to ensure they valued employees with integrity. Your manager who almost took Samuel's bribe? He's been dismissed. You start your new position Monday, with triple your old salary." Lindile burst into tears. "I don't know what to say. I only did what was right." "Exactly. And in a world where wrong is often easier, doing right should be rewarded." Tobo handed her an envelope. "Also, I'm expanding the Mthembu Children's Foundation. I need a financial director I can trust absolutely. Someone who understands what it means to receive help and wants to pass it forward." "Interested?" Yes, absolutely." As Lindile and Mama Tobo began discussing the foundation's future, Tobo's phone buzzed. "Captain Radebe, Naledi Zwane arrested at Mozambique border trying to enter Zimbabwe. She had 2 million rand in cash. Bringing her back for trial. Justice, slowly but surely, was being served." Thandile stood, gathering her children. "We should go. You've been too generous already." "Wait." Tobo pulled out one more document. "Your house. Samuel mortgaged it secretly to fund his lifestyle. The bank is foreclosing next month. Thandio's face crumpled. I know. I've been applying for rentals, but no one wants to rent to a criminal's wife. You're not losing your house. Tobo handed her the paper. I bought the mortgage from the bank. As of today, the house is paid off. Free and clear. It's in your name only. I can't accept. You can and you will. Tobo's voice was gentle but firm. Not for Samuel. Not even for me. For them. He pointed at the 3 children. They've lost their father. They don't need to lose their home too. Let them have stability. One place where the world makes sense. Thandio couldn't speak. She just pulled Tobo into a fierce hug, whispering, "Thank you," over and over. After they left, Tobo stood on the small porch with his mother, watching the Soweto sunset paint the sky orange and purple. You've shown great mercy today, Mama, Tobo said. Or great foolishness. Some would say I should have left them to suffer. Those people have never known real suffering. She took his hand. You broke the cycle, my son. Samuel's betrayal could have turned you bitter, vengeful, cruel. Instead, you chose justice with compassion. Accountability with mercy. That's who your father wanted you to be. I still hurt, Mama. Knowing my wife never loved me. That my best friend was destroying me for years. How do I trust anyone again? By remembering that for every Samuel and Nomsa, there's a Lindio. For every betrayer, there's someone with integrity. She squeezed his hand. Evil is loud, my son. It demands attention. But good is constant, quiet, persistent. Don't let the loud ones make you forget the quiet ones. Tobo's phone rang again. A new investor interested in partnering on the Durban project. Legitimate this time, fully vetted. Then a message from the charity foundation thanking him for the restored funding. Then a voice note from little Mandla. Thank you, Uncle Tobo. I love you. Maybe healing was possible. Maybe trust could be rebuilt, stronger than before, with better foundations. What now? Mama, Tobo asked. Back to the penthouse? Back to business. Tobo looked at the small house where Rayol Love lived. Actually, Mama, I'm thinking of selling the penthouse. Too many ghosts. Too much empty space. He smiled. Maybe I buy a house near here. Closer to what matters. Closer to home. Now you're thinking clearly. Mama, Tobo laughed. Come. I made your favorite, Pap and Morogo. Let's eat and plan your future. A real future this time. Built on truth. As they walked inside, Tobo felt lighter than he had in months. Samuel was in prison. Nomsa was in prison. The money was being recovered. The innocent were protected. Justice had been served. But more than justice, there was hope. Hope that from the ashes of betrayal, something better could grow. Hope that his mother was right. Good was constant, quiet, persistent. And in the end, good would win. Because Tobo Mthembu had learned the most important lesson. You can fake death, fake marriage, even fake friendship. But you cannot fake integrity. You cannot fake love. And you cannot fake the kind of character that chooses mercy when revenge would be easier. The billionaire had returned. He had caught the betrayers. And now, finally, he could begin to truly live. The end. Thank you so much for watching this intense journey. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to Stories of a Stoner for more emotional African family dramas, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in Tobo's position? Would you show mercy or seek complete revenge? Your thoughts matter to us. See you in the next story, and remember, trust wisely, love genuinely, and always protect what truly matters. God bless. Folded hands.